Hello, everyone. So today we are going to focus on talking about some women's rights in the 19th century. They're really going to start picking up in the 1830s, and a lot of this is going to be in Britain, but we're going to start to see some change, or at least the major push for change. So really, what are women looking for? I mean, first and foremost is property rights. For instance, women didn't get the right to own property until 1870 in Britain, 1900 in Germany, and 1907 in France. So that is a big deal. Divorce. Again, I'm not saying I am a pro-divorce person, but women who were in bad marriages, like say the one on the right, really had no opportunities to get a divorce. And in some places actually even illegal. And of course, the right to vote is a big deal as well. And one of the places that they're really starting to break out here is breaking from factories and women getting out of, say, just the textile work and getting into professions to show their abilities and a level of professionalism that have been denied to them at that point. Okay, so education is the big one. Lots of women getting into teaching. I'll actually be talking about a woman later who kind of revolutionizes teaching. And then nursing. You have Emily Davison, who is up top right here, is the founder of the Female Association for the Care of the Poor and Sick in Germany. Florence Nightingale, who I've talked about already in the Crimean War, and then Clara Barton doing her work primarily in the American Civil War, but changing battlefield medicine, changing the way that medicine is actually done. These women in nursing were able to have tremendous impacts. And, people start looking at them a little bit differently, and women are starting to get into the professional world. It's not perfect, but it's a way to take that first step. And of course, getting the right to vote is going to be the big one. I mean, you have people that go from moderate to extreme. You have marches and rallies to much more aggressive. And Britain is really the place where we're going to see the core of the women's suffrage movement. And probably the best known woman is Emmeline Pankhurst. Emmeline Pankhurst, she and her daughters founded the Women's Social and Political Union. The idea is to just work hard and make a lot of noise. She attacked politicians with eggs. They chained themselves to posts and fences. They destroyed windows of shops and even set some stuff on fire. Like, the idea is just pushing and pushing. That's what the tactics are. At one point, she's actually arrested, which you see a picture of her there. That is a picture of her actually being arrested when she was trying to give a petition to King George for women to get the right to vote. And like, as a commoner, she wasn't even allowed to approach him, but she did it anyway. And she actually went on a hunger strike in prison to push forth the fact that she was a political prisoner, and just getting the word out and trying to kind of force the hand for women to vote. Another woman, tragically kind of sacrificed her life for that. So I'm going to show you a little clip here of something. Of Emily Davison.
Derby Day on Wednesday, June the 4th, 1913. And as the highest and the lowest in the land converge on Epsom Downs, this year there was a particular buzz in the air, not to mention a great deal of extra security. Because the King, George V, had a fancied runner, a horse called Anmer, which was a strong anti-post favourite.
So the idea is King George had...
But as the royal party arrived to see the race, there was another more desperate subplot running through the meeting, known to just a handful of people. A demonstration was going to be made on behalf of the suffragette movement. This was an increasingly violent campaign by women demanding the right to vote in political elections. Hunger strikes, bomb attacks, marches and meetings had all been used in the years beforehand to press the women's claims. But what was to happen today was to place the suffragette cause onto quite another level of public consciousness. Just as the field was rounding Tattenham Corner, a young woman stepped out from behind the rails, waited for Anmer to come by, and as it did, to the horror of the crowd, she grabbed at the horse's reins, bringing it down. Emily Davison was the young woman's name. She was critically injured.
Again, they might slow this down if that kind of disturbs you. You can fast forward at this point.
Slowed down, it's plain to see just how coolly Miss Davison had picked her target. She died 4 days later without regaining consciousness. Horse and jockey both recovered.
Now, the question is exactly why did Emily Davison do this? Was she specifically trying to sacrifice herself for the cause? I've seen anything from she was trying to put something onto the horse to try to draw attention to the suffragette movement. I've seen everything that all she was trying to do was to bring down the horse, but nonetheless, she died. And this gives you an idea of exactly what women were, in many cases, willing to sacrifice for, because they wanted the right to vote. They wanted to get themselves involved. And so that's going to be the key things, and we're going to continue to talk about that, because you're not going to have any success until the 1900s. But another area that women really get truly involved in is the peace movement, and really focusing on this concept that war destroys families. I know that's like a duh, but it really does. And there's a woman by the name of Bertha von Suttner who writes this brilliant book called Lay Down Your Arms. And the idea was, and basically a quote from that book, we want to end armaments to the means of murder, and we want these millions to be spent on the needs of the people. And the idea of showing what war does to a country, because as I've been talking about, war is getting more and more and more violent. Of course, we're going to see World War I come, and then World War II. But what you see is that many women start to get involved in causes that are outside their own to, again, draw attention to a cause, but also to be in a leadership position to show, again, the value of women. And this book was a big deal, and Bertha von Suttner actually won the Nobel Peace Prize in 1905 for this novel, or not novel, for this book, and it's absolutely revolutionary. And we're starting to see women again, successful authors. We've got some successful writers. We're getting involved in education and stuff, and it's a big deal. And then something else that women start to do, this idea of the new woman, which I think you could kind of, for people who have had like U.S. History 2, relate a little bit to the flappers. And the idea here is to renounce traditional feminine roles. Some women try to attend universities. They will try to live on their own. You see this woman here is going to go out and ride a bicycle to get herself around. She's still kind of wearing that traditional dress, but the fact that she is out and about on her own, even though there were definitely no, the rules on the whole idea of being out and having to be escorted all the time, that was kind of more customary, but these women aren't going to do that. They're going to try to break those things down. So you're going to attack real issues, you're going to attack aspects of the culture, and then you're going to see some things that are really revolutionary. Maria Montessori, who was a woman who attended the University of Rome, and in 1896 became the first woman with a medical degree. She actually decides to develop a school for mentally handicapped children, which is absolutely huge. But from that, and from that, she develops methods to teach children how to read and write, and then with the special needs kids, and then from there actually expands that into a way to teach children overall, that children are of mixed age, but they're in with others of similar ability, so it's not just age grade, it's ability grade. The education is about interest and discovery based. You work with materials rather than like direct instruction. There's freedom of movement around the class. You're not your standard desk type seating. It's a really big deal, and this is a big thing in the United States of America. Her method expanded over here, and actually, I'm from the South Jersey area, and in just the area where I live, there are Montessori schools in Marlton, Voorhees, and Cherry Hill. So we're really seeing that women are doing as best they can to break it. The political rights are to break the discrimination. The political rights are coming, but it's still a really hard road to go down. Okay, all right, guys. So hopefully you got a little something out of this video, and I will see you soon.